needle off and you ship it away. They send it back, you put it in, still don't work, ship it away. Yeah, it blew out right away. We don't know why. So now how do you find it?
Yeah.
Yep. And it goes to Iowa, so it's 2 or 3 days back and forth.
Wow.
Or I got a diesel pump down at Midway right now. It's electronically governed. Well, the tractor tests out that it's all right. They shut it off one night, went to start it the next day, it won't start. Send the diesel pump down. Everything checks out until they put it on the stand and run it wide open, and everything kind of locked up, you know. So I'm hoping that's going to cure my problem there, but it.
Okay, it's 6:30. We'll call the October 17th special meeting to order. First is the quote for the sander from Swanson Equipment. Colin, you probably know the most about it.
Yep. Rodney was up here last 11th Thursday, I think it was.
Okay.
We talked about it because there were some concerns with the other one that was proposed as being too big for our equipment. We went down and looked at the truck. He did confirm that yes, that sander was way too much for that truck. We discussed a smaller pickup one. He did not recommend we go that direction either, just too small. So the one that was proposed was this FSDM Flink sander. He did quote both an 8 and a 10 foot. But I think the consensus is to go with an 8 foot. With going with that unit, it would be a self-powered, self-contained unit. Would fit pretty much anything we would have. It would fit on the Unimog chassis, would fit on the Chevy truck. If both those go down, slide back to the dump truck. If we had to, in a case of emergency, go rent a 1-ton cabin chassis, it would slide in a box there.
Yeah.
So we've got some options.
Yeah. Colin and I discussed this a little bit, yeah, and I think this is the way to go.
And I did talk to Mike.
Oh, okay.
I'm comfortable with this after we got the specs for that truck, you know.
Yeah.
And it's more versatile.
Yes.
Maybe we can use it in the summer when they tar big patches that are,
Possibly.
you know, and throw a little sand over, because sometimes it takes a long time for that tar to dry when you're doing big cracks everywhere. But I'm not sure, you know, it would work. And that way it would be run once in a while.
Right.
And it wouldn't have salt in the sand. It would be just sand base to it.
Well, the problem is, a lot of our problem is it doesn't get cleaned enough.
Right.
You know, like if you have a low in the winter, you should take it off, clean everything up really, really good, put it back on.
And oil
it. And the thing is,
End of season 2, pull it off, clean it up good, oil it, spray it.
It hasn't been pulled off on the big truck this year, and I'm really upset about that, because I know you need to take it off. Whatever. But that's another story. So I will move that we purchase the 8-foot sander that's in the quote here from Swanson Equipment for $9,158 and another $1,200 for freight.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just a couple questions. Would it be cheaper, since they have a company out of Minot, to get it out of Minot, if they just ship it in there? Isn't that out of Minot too?
You know, I'm Swanson out of Minot, are they still that? Because I know the one in Bismarck got bought out.
Right, and I'm not sure.
So,
but you know, maybe the freight, where if they would freight it into Minot.
Typically, what I see with freight, because Minot doesn't have it, or Fargo doesn't have it. It's going to come from the manufacturer.
That's right.
So if you ship it from the manufacturer to Minot, unload it there, you got handling, you got more freight up to here. Chances are it's, at a minimum, it's going to be horse a piece.
Yeah.
So I would say just...
So that's freighted into here.
Into Washburn.
And not into Fargo. Okay.
And you know what, though? I mean, when we need sander parts, we get them from Swanson Equipment out of Fargo. I mean, that's where we get our sander parts from.
Yeah.
So, out of Fargo.
I talked to Rodney, I asked the question, okay, if we need parts, these aren't coming from Russia or Taiwan, they're made in the U.S. I asked too about, support. You know, if there's a simple, just a question. We call you, you're a salesman,
Mhm.
I call you on a Friday night at 8 o'clock, are you gonna answer your phone? He said, generally, yes, you will.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we got some support this way too.
Right,
We've been dealing with Swanson out of Fargo for years and years and years and years and years, so.
right. And the warranty.
Warranty, I guess I did not specifically ask on that, I don't know if there's anything in there.
Yeah, I did not see it, that's why I'm asking, just,
I'm sure there is.
usually
I don't
it's
know
1
what it-
year parts and labor, but,
I don't see anything specific. Okay, I can give him a call in the morning to verify.
Well, I'm sure there is. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
it's
there is, I
effective,
just don't
you
know what it is.
right,
Right.
okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Next one is the school lease. The only thing that I see in here that or that I didn't see in here is something, and maybe I missed it, something about when they're renting the gym, they do not use any other areas, they don't go downstairs, you know, that's the only thing I didn't, is that in here? I didn't see it in here.
No, so the one that I had sent over to Lindell, like, they totally changed it, so there's some things like that was taken out. The other thing
Oh, really?
was, I had language in there about, that they would be responsible for, like, some of the wear and tear, like, you know, because that's kind of been your verbal agreement,
Okay,
that they would share in the responsibility of that, that's not in there anymore. And then as far as, I had in there, like, emptying, removing the garbage, sweeping the floor after use, you know, all of that kind of stuff, and that stuff was removed. I mean, and that's,
do you know why that was removed?
I don't,
I wonder why it was. I mean, I think that's only right, that they would run a broom over it, and, I mean, if they have garbage, I mean, because really, I'm assuming they're gonna use it for nothing. You
So
know,
it's-
they helped with the floor, you know, so.
right. We just want to
Right.
have a policy where everybody knows what's going on.
Exactly.
And that's, I think I asked about the tarps, you know, where do I put down the tarps on, when they're not using it, right? But we're not gonna pull them up every day and put them down every day after they're done, right?
We're not gonna use the tarps anymore.
Okay, well, that's what I wanna,
Tarps are a hazard,
well,
tripping hazard, people have tripped with those things, they need to go away.
that's what I was wondering, and you wanted to know where we were at with that.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's gonna be our policy, that unless there's gonna be something that's way out of whack, we're not gonna use the tarps.
right.
Okay.
Is there a monthly or yearly rental we do, or we just do the contract for the school, or how?
well, so, you know, we usually have a rental form that people, you know, like you
Yep.
waive the fees for. We usually have a rental form that, or contract that we have people fill out.
Mhm.
And so it has some of this language about the liabilities, you know, waiving that
Yep.
holding us harmless and all that. The school has nothing, and they've been using it, so we need to get something in place that,
Exactly.
that protects us. So that's why this was drafted. And then, yeah, you can put in whatever you want as far as, that's why there's blanks there, what you wanna charge them rent, if you even wanna charge them rent. If what, $1, 0, whatever, you know, that's why those blanks are empty, is so that you make them what you want them to be.
Well, okay, why don't we start there? We'll start with the rent. Do we want to charge them rent? I would say,
Well, what has typically been done in the past?
I don't think we
Right.
charge them anything. I mean, they have their deposit.
So,
But they're
But-
keeping up with the floor to some extent.
Well, they helped pay for the floor,
Yeah.
redoing the floor.
But are they doing, if they keep up on the floor and help do some of the maintenance on it, you know, that's my way whether or not, you know, we should charge them. Because there's wear and tear on the floor.
Well, you know, that floor was in there for 30 years before anything was touched. I'm assuming it's another 30 years before it gets touched again.
Well,
Okay, so from what Julie has told me, and what from Brad Renas has told me, is that flooring is another layer of
Oh, it does?
sealant on it. And
Okay.
I've been in contact with that, can't remember, but something Sanders, but I haven't heard back from them, asking them specifically what kind of sealant they use, because we need to, with what Brad told me, you need to use the same kind of sealant, Dan, either oil-based or water-based, like you need to, like, use
Okay.
the same kind, and then get on, if we're gonna get on a schedule, or what,
Mm.
we need to figure out what has been done to the floor, and then what are methods, or what will we do
Right.
in the future.
Okay,
We need
sure.
to decide that, but I've not heard back from
Okay,
that company as to what they used, and then what they suggest maintenance for in the future.
okay. So, yeah, well, yeah, then it, yeah, I didn't know we had to do that, so, yeah, then it would be,
right, and
frugal to have them, at least help in some of the cost share anyway on
Right.
some of that stuff.
And that would help if we had a maintenance schedule to keep rid of the tarps.
Great.
Because you're right, tripping hazard and everything like that.
So,
Um,
just don't know, that's why I'm asking, but if the school has 2 gyms already, why do they need the memorial hall?
Well, I think because, don't both the basketballs happen at the same time?
And the
And
one
then-
gym's too small.
Well, it's for the little kids, but, if you've got boys and girls at the same time, you've got different age levels, you got all that, I mean,
Right.
the gyms get used,
Mhm.
yeah. I think that's why.
And I think it's the size. I think they complain about the size of the small gym at the school all the time for playing
Probably.
basketball.
Probably,
And I think this is more
yeah, right.
to the right size.
Which whatever, I don't get it, because they played in that small gym forever, but.
Right, but,
Whatever.
so it would depend on if we charge them, if they're gonna do maintenance or not maintenance.
So do we want to wait before or do we do like a percentage of the maintenance on it, or, I don't know. Randy, what do you think?
Well, I think if we, in my opinion, if we charge them rent,
Then we would do the maintenance.
then that
Yeah,
should be, then that should come out of our expense. But,
Okay.
if they're gonna pay for some of the maintenance, that should be considered in.
The
The
thing,
rental
what I
fee or-
see happening is, they're gonna go, we gave, I'm just gonna throw this figure out, I don't know, we gave $15,000 to help refinish that floor, so, because we plan on using it, where do we sit, with that?
Right.
And then you're gonna charge us rent on top of it, that's what I see.
That's why if we do just a maintenance deal, they can't complain because it's their floor too. They would want to keep it up because they're gonna use it.
Right.
And then we wouldn't have to have, we could waive the fee.
rent, right.
That way, if they would quit taking care of the floor, then we can redo the contract for, waiving the fee.
Has anybody talked with the school about this at all?
So I asked Brad, because I couldn't find any kind of document, and he said, no, there is no document. And so I said, well, we'll draft one, and then we'll get it to you. So-
Did you show him this?
No, because I didn't know what you guys would want.
Okay.
So I'm normally, in a contract, you put something together, you give it to them, they
Right.
put their things on it, and it comes back to you, so I'm not.
Well, I guess
would
what I'd
think-
like to see is, ask them, if they would, be interested in rent or else like a cost share of the maintenance on like the floor and stuff. See what they're more comfortable with, and what they think would be fair, and then, I know we had talked about insurance, ours is $4 million now, are we gonna require a $4 million liability
Well, that was
from them?
what David wanted, is to have the same coverage
Exactly.
as what we had.
Which I think makes sense. Yeah, because like David said, they go after the deepest pocket. So if they're the same, then,
And then we can ask Lindell about why he took some of that information out in the contract. And that way the full commission can look at it and we can get, some opinions, and maybe, Mr. Renus would come down and talk to us, so he's here. So we would know what they're thinking. And that way, maybe Rainey can review some of the older minutes, because I don't know what they agreed to with the floors
There's
and
nothing in
stuff.
the minutes.
Or, I mean, the video. See,
Well, it was a cost share thing, you know, when they did it.
yeah,
And I don't remember who paid what, but the school paid some, we paid some, who else did?
Memorial, Legion.
Legion paid
Because
some.
I found those bills. I mean, that's how I found this company.
Okay,
Because I dug into those bills
Okay,
to find where it
yeah.
was, and then I've been calling them and
yeah,
getting more.
so,
So what other things would you like me to visit with them about as far as maintenance? Like, do you want the maintenance as far as the garbage and the sweeping of the floors, or we're just gonna, you don't want, you know, like, what language do you want me to ask them about?
how often does Julie go over there, every day?
I don't know that it's every day, but it's a few days of during the week.
Well, because, I mean, really, after the games, I mean, the floor should be swept, really should, you know.
They have been given a key to that room
Okay,
to have access to that. But
okay,
she
and
said
really, you
that-
just got those brooms you push, right?
So
How
do
hard is that?
they actually play games or just practice here?
Well,
Oh,
I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask.
No, if it's practice, I can't imagine there's much garbage in there or anything.
And if they have games, I mean, how
yes.
hard is it to at least, you know, bag it up and set it by the door, you know, or something?
Sweep the floor, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's,
because if they're practicing and sweating and sliding on the floor, it wouldn't hurt to wipe it up, you know, to run a mop across it.
well, I don't know about mopping.
Well, those brooms, whatever you
Yeah,
wanna call those
dust
brooms,
mop.
dust mops, or,
Yeah,
So
I-
the garbage and the sweeping.
yeah, I think so.
So the other thing I had listed there was like all chairs and tables to be stacked on the racks and returned to the storage room if they didn't use them, because I've seen where they've pulled the chairs out for games, you know, if they didn't have room enough
They
for
should
the
put 'em back.
bleachers. So that was one other thing that I had in here.
Yeah, they should put them back, I mean, they're using it, if somebody else uses it, they're expected to put them back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I really didn't see much. Like I said, you know, if they're using the gym, they should, and I don't know how we do that, you know, they should, not be allowed to go downstairs. And I talked to Randy about that too. We really need to get some kind of gates that we can close that downstairs off, you know. It just makes sense, you know. We'll have to look into that.
So the other language that I put in there was the tenant to provide a responsible adult presence during the intended use to provide adequate and effective supervision, so that
Yes.
no other part of the property is being used during such events. I don't think that language is still in there, so I don't know if you're interested in
Where was I?
that. Was that? Okay.
There was something in there, but I don't know
Oh, yes, G, it's in there. Okay.
if that whole thing is in there.
No, just under letter G, that sentence, you know, because that was to provide, you know.
Oh, that's all the part of the property is, okay,
So that the
being
kids
used,
don't go
okay.
running downstairs.
Okay, okay, good,
That
okay,
was
good, good, yeah, okay.
That was the intent of that
Okay,
sentence.
yeah, I missed that.
So the other thing we didn't talk about was that the terms, we put the first day of October expire at the end of this year, and automatically renewal on January 1st
Right.
for a one-year term. Is that
That works for me.
reasonable?
That
Okay.
should be fine.
So the security deposit, do you still want it to be the 150 like we charge everybody else?
The thing is, though, if they rent it every year, what are we gonna do, have a security deposit on file that we just keep on checks on file forever, and that's kinda silly. You know, I mean, I can see when you have individuals, but
Right.
if
I
it's
mean,
a,
we're talking about the school,
yeah,
you know, if it's.
Right.
I don't know if we really need a security deposit, especially $150, you know, I mean. I think maybe having, well, if there's something in there, if they break something, they gotta fix it, right? That's in there somewhere.
So it's-
Um,
I don't remember seeing that.
I- Okay, it says the landlord will inspect the property on the next regular working day for cleanliness and damages. The tenant will promptly notify the landlord of any damage or any situation that may be, unlawful use. Makes sense.
I don't remember seeing that language in that one.
I mean, if we don't have a deposit, then they should be responsible. I mean, if, you know, if they shoot a basket and they knock out a light or something, I mean, or, you know, somebody throwing the ball crazy.
Now, do they have games down there too, right? Are they gonna use the sound system?
I don't know, maybe.
You know, so that we make sure if something happens to a mic or something like that, it gets taken care of.
Very possible, yeah. Yeah, I think we need to have something in there about being, you know, if there's no deposit, they have to be responsible for
Well,
damages. but-
Right here, the tenant agrees that the landlord will not be liable or responsible in any way for any personal injury or death that may be suffered or sustained by the tenant or any person for whom the tenant is responsible, who may be on the property of the landlord, or for any loss or damage or injury to any property.
Where's that at?
Number 6, liability of parties.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah,
Including cars, contents thereof belonging to the tenant or to any other person. Does that encompass that?
I would think so, yeah.
yeah, I would think so too. Yeah, okay.
So no deposit?
I would say no.
Okay.
Tax money, it's all tax money, you know. Well, they have more money than we do. Anything else in there we need to discuss? I don't think so.
Yes, so I'll reach out to Brad and see
Okay.
what his thoughts are on the rent versus cost share piece, and then we can talk about it again at our next meeting. Okay?
Good, perfect. Okay. Okay, the Black Trail Environmental Proposal, so we got a new proposal, and they'll do it for $2,500 or less, so we don't need to discuss this anymore, and I see in here, it looks like they can possibly do it next week.
Yeah, he told me, he could do the walkthrough, he'd send the results off within a week, and he'd have a report back to us within the 2 weeks timeframe.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
So we should have it by our next meeting then, so, perfect. Okay. All right, other than that, no other business, meeting adjourned. So do I need to sign this, Rainey, or
yeah,
your copy, or my copy, or?
yeah, one of them, one of them.
I suppose you'll fill this in right up here, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
then, so I need to sign here, huh? All you need to do is sign it, you'll take care of the rest.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
There's even a thing for the
Folder in
pen,
there.
special pens.
See?
Oh, so I gotta leave the pen here. Fine,
No.
I'll leave it here. Even though I don't use the damn thing.
If you want one, Larry.
Huh?
That's yours.
Well, you gotta put it in your holder. Okay.
There, you happy now? Hope you're happy now, Colin.
I'll get you one, Larry.
All right.
I'm gonna whine about it.
Well, I'm gonna whine and bawl. You know me. You know me now.
I don't know how to shut that one down.
You hold this button,
Up at the top,
Seems like it always asks me to,
you hold it until you go down and you slide it.
this top button up here.
okay.
You didn't put your pin on it either.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. Right here.
I got mine on there.
Oh, that was the other one. My bad.
I did.
Okay.
I'm good.
This here is recyclable. Recyclable.
Yeah.
Well, it's longer than I thought, but still pretty quick.
Okay, I will call, Rodney Morgan, tell him to get it going.
Oh, do we need to sign something on that?
He just said that quote, he said I'd do the signature, so. I can sign that.
Can't believe we didn't have a paper yet. You did send us to the paper, right? You did send us to the newspaper, right?
Otherwise, somebody will give you hell, right?
Okay, what do you need?
I was gonna grab that paper off.
Oh, okay.